Facebook screen. Okay. Yes. Right, we're on both. Isn't that clever?
Excellent.
So I will do the go live on Facebook. Here we go. Just waiting for the Facebook to. We are now live on Facebook. So
Excellent.
we are now live on YouTube and Facebook, which is lovely. I haven't done one of these for a while, so it's lovely to be able to do one with you, Nina. How are you today?
Yes, good, thanks. Yes, I've been out meeting people in real life this morning, so it's always nice.
Brilliant, brilliant. Me too. Not networking though. I've been teaching my footsteps, and it was so cold in the studio that we didn't need to put the air conditioning on at all
It's
throughout the whole
freezing.
class.
It is freezing today.
Right, so I'll just do a little bit of an introduction. So, as I said, we are live on Facebook and YouTube with a Creativity Found Collective member. Now, I like to do these so that everybody out there can find out about what Creativity Found Collectives members do, collective members do, either how they can help you find a new creative outlet or how they can help you sustain and grow your own small business. Now, in this case, it's a bit of both of those things, actually. So, we're going to cover a nice little melding of getting creative and doing that in a work situation. Um, just before I start chatting with Nina, the Creativity Found Collective is a promotional and networking membership for artists and crafters who share their creative skills with grown-ups through workshops, maybe online events, kits and things like that. And also for business support enterprises and people who can use their expertise to help those artists and crafters and other small business owners to grow their business and to do all the businessy things in their business that anybody struggles with at any time. We promote their offerings on the website creativityfound.co.uk. There is, of course, the podcast Creativity Found, the collective, and the website is always mentioned on every episode of the podcast. And we also meet up in digital land, sometimes in real life as well. But we have online meetups once a month, which are very nourishing, especially if you spend a lot of time on your own, working on your own small business. So if you think you'd like to join us, visit creativityfound.co.uk/join us. There's also an option on there to book a free chat with me, and I can tell you more about it if you're not sure if it's right for you or not. It is right for you. It's right for everybody. It's brilliant. So let's move over to you, Nina. Give me a little introduction to yourself to start with, please.
Oh, in terms of what I do, or just in terms
Well,
of
actually,
me?
let's have a little think. Let's start with how you help other business and business owners to thrive or grow or do whatever they need. Tell us about that bit of it first.
Okay, so I'm a coach, and I've got two bits of that. So there's coaching, as in listening, helping business owners to figure out where things maybe aren't feeling creative, and where they want to put more creativity back into what they're doing. Maybe make more time for that creativity if they haven't been prioritizing it, and have got bogged down in other things. um, and and then there's also, because my background's marketing and project management, there's, depending on the person I'm working with, sometimes I can then help with project planning or marketing planning. um, and that just kind of adds some, it might be that somebody starts off having the coaching and then moves on to the planning side of it, or they might come for one or the other.
So, why might someone come to you? What kind of difficulties might they be experiencing that you can help with?
um, so for example, I've been working with an artist who does other things as well, because she um, she hasn't she hasn't established her art completely. So she does freelance work as well. But what she was finding was that she wasn't actually finding time to do her art, and that's the thing she really loves doing. So we were able to just identify, well, I mean, firstly confirm that that was something she really wanted to do, because she was worried that she might not be able to, she might not be able to support herself if all she ever did with her art. So we were just talking about ways that she could make sure she kept her business running and did things in that, but also then taking advantage of some of the opportunities she was getting in her art, and exploring new paths and new ideas and things
Yeah.
like that.
Oh, brilliant. That's absolutely perfect. I mean, that's exactly the kind of thing I hear from guests on the podcast who have wanted to make that transition whereby they can make their art their job or make their art make them money, and the challenges that that brings up.
Yeah.
Yeah, perfect. Now, you yourself found, I think you found a bit more of a path back to your creativity with writing. Is that right?
Yeah, so it started off. So I mean, this is going back quite a lot of years actually, when I was doing contracting, and I think there'd always been, I'd always written things. In fact, my GCSE English teacher told me off for going off to do science A levels. She said I should be doing creative, because I was writing some lovely creative things, and she thought I should be doing English. um, and so that, I went off, did a science degree, then did marketing, and so actually just sort of lost all of that really, because it just was just too busy. And then it was a thing called the 30-day challenge that got me back into it, where actually what I was doing was, you just sort of picked a creative project, chose something that you wanted to do, and then you did a little bit of work on it every day for 30 days, with the aim of having something to show for it at the end. And I decided I was going to write a blog, and that my blog was going to be, I was just basically going to write a post every day. And I think when I started doing it, I thought I'm not sure what I thought I was going to write, but it ended up actually being these little creative, what I call creative snippets. So it was sort of, I would sit down, put a timer on for 20 minutes, just sort of being completely true to the 20 minutes a day thing. And I'd sit there and type and see what happened. And after a while of doing it, I actually really got into writing these little creative pieces. So I would, I might look out the window and see a tree, and I'd get inspired by that and tell a story about a man sitting underneath a tree, or and imagine some of the, so it was partly descriptive, and it was partly the things that were, maybe the things the man sitting under the tree was thinking, or what was going on. Yeah, so that was really what started it all off. I just sort of created this blog, um, and I carried on doing quite a bit of kind of going down the creative writing route for a little while. I had the odd poem published, and put them um, put them into competitions, and I've self-published a few ebooks, for example. Um, but I think I sort of realised in the end it was something I was doing for me, rather than that I necessarily wanted to be doing a lot of it.
Mm.
But really, that's the thing that's kind of led to one of the things I have as my mix of things I do now.
And is that your writing sessions?
So that's my writing sessions.
Tell me
Yes.
about those.
So in those, it's an informal sort of session. So basically, I love them because I actually get to write as well, and it's probably, it's actually, it means that I know that I'm going to do some writing if I run one. So I've just set it up so that I do a couple of warm up exercises, and then I have some other prompts, and literally all we turn up, we know what we're going to do. We spend 5 minutes writing. Obviously it's online. um, Come back together, have a bit of chat. How did we find it? Sometimes people read things out, sometimes they don't. It's all entirely, nobody has to read anything out if they don't want to, or even say anything if they don't want to. They can just turn up and write. Yeah, and typically in an hour, we'll do two warm-up sessions, and then maybe four other ones, depending on how chatty people are and how many people there are who've come along.
So, are you giving prompts
Yes.
to help people to get started?
yeah, so what I do is do the warm up, a couple of warm up exercises that just get people's brains back into thinking creatively. Um, and then once we've done that, they've sort of got, they're kind of in bit in the flow of it. And then I might put a prompt up like a bear or the house in the woods or something, you know. And then maybe later on I might give people a choice as well, depending on how people are finding them, because I know that, you know, I quite like writing about nature and creative situation, you know, in those sorts of situations and describing them. But actually, some people would much rather be doing dialogue. So actually, you know, that would be like a birthday party or something where there's, you know, you don't have to insert the people because they're kind of implied in the prompt.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's that dedicated time as well, like you said. You have that dedicated time
Yeah.
to, and I think, and other people need that as well. It's very difficult to say, I'm going to do this, which Nina knows because I haven't touched my Cute Bee miniature book nook since not coming to Kelly's Create Connects. But I want to come to in December a bit late, so I've got to like do some work on it.
Yeah.
Um, so from your coaching, mentoring, and even the writing sessions, from that viewpoint, why do you think that is an important offering? Why do you think that is useful for people who are working on their business to, come to you, work with somebody else?
Mm. Well, I think the two things are slightly different. I think for the coaching and the planning side of it, I think actually, you know, if somebody's doing a business where they love what they're doing, um, there are inevitably going to be things that they don't want to do, and actually by working with someone else, either they, you know, sometimes it's something they can outsource. Occasionally I do bits of writing for clients, for example, bits social media or something. I've got a couple of clients I do that for. But so sometimes it can be specifically outsourcing stuff, sometimes it can be about, but it's about rearranging your time to make sure that actually you're prioritizing the, I mean, obviously you're trying to make money, but that you're also prioritizing the things you love doing, so that you they don't get pushed down the list. You know, I was talking to a client the other day who's a writer, who, so she freelance writer, so she writes factual stuff, but actually she wanted to do a lot more creative writing. And in talking about it, we realized that the ideal time for her to do that was first thing in the morning, rather than saying, oh, I'm going to do a bit of creative writing at lunchtime. Actually, her saying, I'm going to spend 15 minutes at the start of every day just writing a little bit of something creative before I get on with my other work. So then she felt nourished because she'd done that kind of thing, and she could get on with the, and then actually it probably made her more efficient in doing that other work, because she was, you know, and then maybe she even was going to get back to it later.
Yeah. Yeah.
um and so I think that's for that. And then for the creative writing, I think actually it has that benefit of just inspiring other creativity and just being something that's for you in whatever form you want it to be.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you. You mentioned that you'd been networking today,
Mhm.
and you've recently joined the collective, obviously, and we've met before at other online networking events. So, why do you think it's important for indie business owners to maybe to be a member of a community, whether it's Creativity Found or other ones that we go to generally?
Oh, I mean, there's so many different reasons for it, aren't there? I mean, I think, you know, any kind of community, it's about having the support of others, knowing that you're not out there working by yourself. um, and I think a community that gives you a monthly online meetup is great, because then you can turn up from your own house. um, you don't even have to get properly dressed, you can just turn up, switch on the computer and have a chat with some people. um, but you know, you've got somewhere that you can go to ask questions, get support for different things. um, and if it's in the case of, you know, a creative community, then you can actually, you know, it can inspire your own creativity as well, because you get ideas from those people.
Hmm. Yeah, absolutely. There's just a little bit of specificity within that. And I think that can be a good introduction for somebody to join a group, to know that there is that specificity of something that you believe in, which of course is creativity,
Yeah.
which, as we know, has a wide range of meanings, but it gives that like coziness amongst knowing that, sometimes you can go to in real life networking events and be completely with the wrong kinds of people. Um,
Yes. Yeah.
so I
I
think
mean,
that,
I know that I've certainly experimented with them on and off. Well, I mean, it's probably been 10 years since I first started doing networking, and yeah, I've experimented with all sorts of different ones. Um, but recently, that's why I decided to join Creativity Found, because it's about creativity and
yeah,
actually, just enjoying being around people who understand what it's like to want to do creative things.
lovely. Thank you. That's exactly what I want to hear, and why we do it. So, what about the future? Have you got any thoughts on what's coming up or anything you want to do going forward?
Well, for me, because I've been kind of formally adding coaching skills to my repertoire this year, although I had been doing the kind of planning side of coaching for quite a while. So for me, it's really just sort of consolidating that in terms of my coaching business, and finding the new clients. I'm not looking to do 9 to 5 coaching 5 days a week. It's always going to sit alongside other things that I do. So that's quite a big focus for me to try and do that. I'm still going to do my creative writing workshops. I'm not doing them all the time. So I think I've got another one. I'm planning to do another one in January. So that's for next year. Um, and then I think the other thing that I have recently done is a certification in something called Creative ID, which is a psychometric tool that looks at creative thinking. um, because when I talk about creativity, I describe it as having two bits. So I say that you've got creative expression, which is all of the writing, the art, and anything like craft, anything that's making something, including things like cooking, gardening, those sorts of things. That's all creativity, creative expression. And then there's the other side, which is creative thinking. Um, and actually, everybody has a style of creative thinking, even if they don't think they're creative. So, you know, if you think of ideas, people having lots of ideas, people developing those ideas and how that works along the way. Yes, you have the creative people with a lot of ideas, but you also have the people that support them in doing that. And so that's what the creative thinking and the creative styles is about. So I'm looking at probably going to do a workshop for freelancers about that. And I'm certainly going to try and work with some of the other consultants who also do that, who also use that tool, and hopefully maybe do some work with some teams, to look at a different aspect of creativity. So that's quite a big focus for me next year as well.
Brilliant. That is so interesting. You can find out everything about Nina on her page at the Creativity Found website, which is creativityfound.co.uk/Nina Lenton. You can find her social links there as well, links back to Nina's site, and descriptions of everything that she does. Give me a quick rundown of your Instagram, and do you include your penguins?
I was
Tell
just going
me
to
about,
say, can I mention my penguins? I've actually
of
got a couple here. I've
course.
got some seasonal ones. So
Oh,
hold on, I printed them out specially. So look, can you see that? Sort of.
sort of.
Yeah. So you've kind of got penguin and a reindeer,
Oh, I guess. Oh, yeah, yeah. No, I got it. And a penguin and a Christmas tree.
penguin and a Christmas tree, and then we've got. Here we go. So I'm trying to do it so I can see what I'm showing you. Penguin and a robin, and
Yes.
penguin and snowman.
Oh.
So
But what started the penguins?
um, actually, it was when I was working in an agency. It was over 10 years ago now, and they they had an art competition. It wasn't meant to be like it wasn't obviously a serious art competition. It was a kind of bring some creativity to it, and I drew what I called March of the Penguins. And I just did this A4 sheet with a whole load of these weird little penguins on it. And then I forgot about them for a while until one day I was coming back from London, and I'd had a couple of glasses of wine, and I was on the train, got my notebook out, and I drew I drew a tower of penguins. I don't know why I did, and then ever since then, I sort of, every now and then I've gone through little phases of bringing these penguins into things, um, and it was it really kind of escalated a bit last year when I told members of a freelance community that I'm in that when I procrastinate, I draw penguins, and yeah, and they didn't think I was weird, and they sort of went, "Oh, great, show us some." And I ended up setting up an Instagram account for my penguins. Um, and then one of the networking events that I know we both go to online, I actually started writing notes in the form of penguins. So whatever topic we were talking about, I would do a penguin related so by the end of an hour's session, I might have 5 or 6 or even more sometimes, um, silly cartoons with this penguin doing all sorts of weird things. So yeah, so I mean, that's my penguins.
Brilliant. We've spoken about this on Instagram. It's a form of like sketchnoting, isn't it? I've got an episode with a lady in America who does that, and you'll learn more about sketchnoting from that episode. But that's what you're doing as well, isn't it?
Yes, just very specific sketchnoting because it has to involve a penguin. So.
That's absolutely fine. So, where can people find you on Instagram as your penguin account and as your you account?
Okay, so I am Nina Lenton Business. My penguins are weird penguin doodles.
And they're lovely. They bring so much joy and happiness and these little thoughts. It's lovely. Um, Thank you so much, Nina. That's been really super. I'm just going to mention that we have live streamed this using Riverside, which is the platform I use to record all of my podcast episodes as well. And you can find links to Riverside and Buzzsprout, which are the people who host my podcast, in the description of this post. And have to let you know that if you do use either of those links and you pay some money, a little bit comes back to Creativity Found the podcast, which is lovely. So yeah, head over to creativityfound.co.uk/Nina Lenton. The link for that is also in the notes here. And yeah, find out more. Thank you so much, Nina.
Thank you very much, Claire.
Okay, I'll just do this stop thing here. Fantastic.
Right, it's told me
That will
to
stop
hold.
everything.
Click
Lovely.
OK. Right, hold on. Keep this tab open. I shall keep the tab open. I shall do what I'm
Oh,
told.
you're nearly there. No, you're there. You're there.
Yeah, yeah. I've actually been experimenting with using Riverside myself, so it's quite nice. It's all. I made sure my room's kind of set up for it, and
Mm.